We're back at Glen, Helen. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championships. Getting late in this one. Mike Alessi has led every lap of this race, but Ryan Villopoto discarded Chad Reed, discarded Josh Glen, got past those guys, put his head down, and is now going after his rival Alessi for the win.
It's just the opposite of when they were amateurs. It seemed like Alessi always got the better of Villopoto. Ever since they turned pro, it's been the opposite. Here we go again. Mike, I think, took it a little bit easy when he got that big lead going, I do not need to push this hard. The track's rough, it's a little bit of a glare. It's not a question of fitness anymore, it's a question of speed. Both these guys are riding with so much heart, but Villopoto is just a little bit faster. And whatever, if Mike did take it a little easy there for a while, it's so hard to get yourself back out of that and go fast again.
Yeah, this is not a comment on Alessi's fitness. As you put it, he had strength dripping off of him when you saw him in the pits this weekend.
Looked like a Navy SEAL when I rode him over to the press tent yesterday. Very confident, but maybe he got a little too that's just what it looked like, because I know he was a little bit faster than he looked when we went to the shots of him a couple times, and he needed to just race this whole entire race like it was this lap right here. If he'd have done that, Villopoto wouldn't have got this momentum. The crowd wouldn't be in it. It'd be a whole different deal.
Bad timing for Alessi. You see the countdown clock at the top of the screen. It's just about to expire now. If they were about a half of a lap slower, they would have gotten the 2-lap board. So now they're 2.5 laps away, and Villopoto now clearing that big triple cleanly. It's only more difficult to do that late in the race when the track is rough, but he's still airing it out. Now working inside line in this very high-speed section at Glen Helen. Thinking over 70 miles an hour through here. And there's that new outside line that Villopoto has discovered while coming through the pack. Alessi doesn't even know it's there.
Oh, that was almost pretty sketchy there.
That was not a scrub. No, that was a mistake from
Mike
Alessi.
is obviously aware of what's going on. He knew he was coming, now he knows. And, you know, if you're Villopoto and you see Mike starting to look around a lot, you're like, okay, good. He's worried. I got him.
Oh, he's got it right now.
Still got to make that pass.
He's going to try to go to the inside, scrubbing it over that jump, side by side. This is the fastest section of all. Villopoto going to use an outside line. Had tried it inside earlier. Oh, they got side by side for the first time. What does Alessi have up his sleeve to try to hold Villopoto off? They're putting Jake Marsack a lap down, and they're both able to negotiate that. Alessi will have 2 laps to try to hold Villopoto off. Side by side, Villopoto jumps and takes the lead.
Mike changed his lineup a little bit and got in some ruts right there and wasn't able to do that double in the middle, and now the pressure's off of him a little bit right now. Now he's just going, okay, well, it was coming. There was no 2 ways about that. Nothing he could do. Now he can try to apply the pressure on the Villopoto. Maybe force a mistake, but I don't know. Villopoto is just he's on form today. When he's riding his best, like he did a couple years ago on the 250 and Motocross of Nations, just the fastest in the world on whatever bike, he's back to that kind of confidence, and I don't know who can run with him other than maybe James Stewart.
Much has been said about the rivalry of Alessi and Villopoto. It goes back to they were about 12 years old. They had a bitter feud in the amateur ranks on minicycles. But Alessi said this year he's going to approach it differently. He's going to race his own race. He's not thinking about Villopoto, Reed, Grant, Short, anyone else. He's riding his own race. But this has been the weakness of Mike Alessi's game. We talked about it earlier today, David. He needs to try to win one of these dogfights. He does well when he gets that early lead. But to fight back late in the moto, he's got 2 laps to try to repay Villopoto and get that lead back.
There you
Can he do it?
Big 2-lap board. The crowd is loving this. It was great early. Kind of got little kind of weak for a bit and heated right back up, and it was, I think, just a momentum shift of Mike thinking, I got a big lead, no sense in pushing really hard, and Villopoto pushing really hard, and there you see it. I don't know if Mike said he was hanging with him for a bit, but Villopoto was starting to inch away. He's doing that triple right in front of Mike, and that's just another one of those little things where you're going, oh man, he's doing that. I didn't even know about that. I have a different line, and starting to see the evidence of why Villopoto should be ahead of him.
Villopoto sideways over the top of that jump. There's this outside line that we were talking about earlier. Alessi's still using the inside where it's very, very rough and choppy. This track is unbelievably rough right now.
Well, what's scary is when you go up those hills and you're in the air for a while. They're serving like peanuts on that flight. And you got a rut and you get cross-threaded in that like Mike almost did the last time, and that could be a horrendous crash. So yeah, there's nowhere to relax. I mean, those places you're in the air for a while, but it's so sketchy on the takeoff and so gnarly on the landing to get stopped to the corner at the bottom. It's not really a relaxing point. Just all of it. Just that right there takes strength. The lineup for this deep rut, that takes a lot of skill. And then up this hill where Alessi messed up last time, there's nowhere to rest. This track is brutal. And, you know, I mentioned a little earlier that, talking to you, Jason, this afternoon, that, you know, seeing Ryan Villopoto, he's not ripped. You know, he doesn't look as fit as Mike, but it doesn't matter because he's so fast.
Well, he certainly is. The gap he's pulled out over Alessi. Remember, halfway through this moto, he was battling wheel to wheel with Josh Grant and Chad Reed, and they were way back. So not only has he opened up this much of a gap over Alessi in one lap, but think of how far back Reed, who was faster than him in practice, is now. So Villopoto has definitely made a statement here. Now, we've seen before riders go 1-1 at Glen Helen. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to dominate the entire tour. But if there's any goal, the goal will be to win both motos. So Villopoto is doing everything he can do.
It's starting to look a lot like Carmichael or Stewart when they're just, you know, dominant. He's dominant right now, and to get this one under his belt, he's probably going to be even more comfortable and perhaps more dominant. I mean, just since he was with Reed, which wasn't that long ago, he's put 36 seconds on him. I mean, it takes a whole moto to do that a lot of times to somebody, and not somebody as good as Chad.
Chad actually still dealing with a little bit, easy for me to say, of pressure from Josh Grant, although Grant had his feet came off the pace in the 8 corners, that allowed Reed to open it back up. But Reed, again, has not raced outdoors, has raced twice in the last 2 years. Raced National at Budds Creek in 07 and the Motocross of the Nations last year. So maybe the second moto, the pace, the rough track, not that he's not in shape, but he was definitely stronger in the first half of this moto than the second.
It's an eye-opener for sure. I mean, I was very surprised to see him lay down the fastest laps in practice this morning. It was like, wow, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
That was a shocker to me. I thought he'd be in there, but I didn't know he was going to be the fastest both times. And the bad start the first moto hurt him. I thought, okay, well, he looked pretty fast, though. And he knew he was only going to get to a certain point, kind of laid up. This moto, he had every opportunity, and it's definitely a wake-up call for him. He's going to have to be a little bit faster from now on.
Villopoto now trying to put the finishing touches. Oh, wait a minute. That is Andrew Short a lap down. Remember, Short was in 4th, then 5th, and then we've lost him off the radar altogether. And that is not typical of Andrew Short, who is known as perhaps the most consistent rider in this pack. And that is a huge pile of points for one of our serious championship contenders. So Andrew Short just gave up. So Villopoto, everything going his direction now. Now he knows that Short's even further back than he expected. Ryan Villopoto, we mentioned, 3 straight championships, undefeated for titles in the 250 class, and then he goes 1-1 in his debut in the big class. Only Carmichael has been able to match that.
In that last shot, come up the hill where Alessi made his mistake earlier, he's not that far off. He lost, you know, Villopoto opened up a gap, and it stayed about the same. So Alessi is fighting as hard as he can.
Alessi wanted to come out and wanted to win this fight. First moto did not go the way he wanted. Played his hand right in the second moto. Whoa, still making mistakes in this last lap. And you're right, he's not that far back there, but at the same time, Alessi had the game plan he wanted, and Villopoto was still able to top it. But Alessi works as hard as anybody.
Yeah, when I saw the start, and Alessi had it again, and you could see he was a little bit more focused, a little more intense, knew what he needed to do, and was motivated, and a little uptight with the first moto. I thought, well, you know, with where Villopoto's starting, and the lead that Alessi was opening up on him, I really thought it was a done deal. But, man, that just goes to show just how impressive of a performance Villopoto's putting in today. And it's just going to boost his confidence so much more.
Here it is, folks. History in the making. 3 straight titles in the 250 class, and he goes 1-1, sweeping both motos in his debut in the 450 class. Ryan Villopoto has conquered Glen Helen. We'll be right back after this to talk to our winners.